loves, it's been a very long time since I've read books to you, but I'm actually going to read to you my very favorite book from, the illustrations are my very favorite out of any children's book when I was growing up. And it is called The Bedspread by Sylvia Fair. And I love it. And I bought this one on Amazon, and it's from a school. I did not steal it from a school. It's called The Bedspread. And this thing says for Lola. I'll turn a little bit. All right. Once in a long, long bed lived two old sisters. They ate their meals in their bed, washed their faces in bed, and at night they slept in their long, long bed. So this is all of the house, and then the sisters in their long, long bed are right here. You can see there's all these other rooms that have maids working in them. This big old house. There's even a maid working outside right there, the little animal. All right. I'm fed up, complained Maud. You're not half as fed up as I am, replied Amelia sulkily. Oh, yes, I am, insisted Maud. It's that clock ticking all the time. No, it isn't, argued Amelia. It's that wallpaper. Every rose is the same as the next. No, it's not. Yes, it is. No, it's not. And the worst of all, said Amelia, is this boring white bedspread. Maud looked down at the boring white bedspread, and for once in her long life, she agreed with Amelia. Amelia, she said sharply, if this white bedspread is so boring, then we should decorate it. So this is Maud and Amelia. And they're on either side of their bed. And for once in her long life, Amelia agreed with Maud. They rummaged under the bed until they found their old work baskets and opened them. They were full of scissors and thimbles and pins and needles and buttons and bodkins and hooks and eyes. There were scraps of lace and of silk and satin and rolls of ribbon and links of lace. Look, exclaimed Maud, my thimble still fits. And so do my scissors, said Amelia, snipping excitedly in the air. Eagerly, they threaded their needles and then stopped. They didn't know what to sew. They stared empty-faced at one another until Amelia had an idea. Do you remember the house we lived in as children? She asked breathlessly. Do you remember the stitches we were taught at school? Asked Maud severely. Let's embroider a picture of our old house, suggested Amelia brightly. And let's see how many different stitches we can work into it, agreed Maud. We'll each make a house, one at each end of the bedspread, and then it will be symmetrical. So over here is Amelia, and she's pulling all of her things out, laying them out as she finds them, testing her thimble. Or no, this one's Maud. And this one's Amelia. And that's all for her stuff. She's got her scissors in the air. You can see all the different fabrics. Maud measured the bedspread and marked the exact corner with a safety pin. Oh, I'm sorry. She marked the exact center with a safety pin. Now listen, Amelia, she said. Your house mustn't come past that pin. Amelia nodded understandingly as she fumbled in her work basket on her knee. And we'll begin at the front door, decided Maud. A very good place to start, dear, said Amelia with a smile. And they began to sew, snickety-snack with the little silver scissors and pickety-pick with their sharp needles as they cut and stitched and cut and stitched. There were 5 stone steps up to the front door, Amelia remembered, and a black cat named Ferdinand used to slink along the railings. Don't make the railings crooked, warned Maud. But they were crooked, Maud. You can see here she's measuring. There's her work basket. And then down here is Amelia's. And then they started to sew. The doors of their houses grew. Maud cut a neat oblong of purple velvet for her door and worked each panel in fine spider stitch. She made the railings of hairpin lace and a crocheted half moon for the fanlight over the door. Amelia made her door from the pocket of an old blue dress and cut steps out of a pair of old fawn underdrawers. She found a brass button for the doorknob and a buckle for the letterbox and a curtain ring for the knocker. And since she couldn't remember any of her stitches, she had to invent them as she went along. So there is Maud's beautiful, beautiful house. Look at it. And then here is Amelia's door with a little cat. On Tuesday, Maud said, "Today we will make the windows, and don't forget the balcony on the first floor." All day they snipped and stitched, so that when it was time to go to sleep, the windows were finished. Maud cut squares of satin for her window panes and framed them with buttonhole stitches. She chose pearl thread for the balcony rail and wove it into lozenges with knots of intercrossed bars. Amelia's windows were crooked and frayed, and they were framed with string that wouldn't lie flat. But flowers bloomed in window boxes on every floor, and the balcony she stitched herself with Maud and their father and mother and all of their brothers and sisters. You can see Maud's, and you can see Amelia's. On Wednesday, Maud said, "Today we will make the walls." Maud cut 326 calico bricks and whipped them into place with invisible stitches. "You haven't missed a single brick," marveled Amelia. She hadn't even tried to build her wall of bricks. She had only remembered the creeper full of flycatchers' nests and the vine that was so easy to climb down secretly by moonlight. Looking in from behind Maud here, you can see all of her little stitches, all of her little bricks. And there is that vine that you could climb down. On Thursday, Maud said, "Today we shall stitch the roof." And she found a tortoiseshell crochet hook and worked 10 rows of tiles in pineapple stitch. But Amelia only remembered the time when 3 peacocks from the nearby park had roosted on the roof and cried, "Help!" in the middle of the night. So you can see Maud's beautiful roof, and there are the peacocks. On Friday, Maud said, "Today we will build the chimneys." By the end of the day, Maud's chimneys stood at attention on top of the roof in bold bugle stitching, but Amelia's chimneys were bent and with ribbons of smoke twirling into the wind. You see again that beautiful roof, tiles and the stitches, and then there's what the other roof looked like with the chimneys. On Saturday, Maud said, "Well, that's finished." "But we haven't done the garden yet," Amelia protested. "The garden was in the back," Maud reminded her. "I want to sow the garden," said Amelia stubbornly. So they agreed to make a garden each. Maud worked a pretty border of flowers and raised satin stitch, but Amelia's garden was like a jungle with trees to climb and a swing in the apple tree. So look at all of these beautiful stitches over here that Maud made. And over here you can see this. There's the apple tree. There's a little kid behind the tree there swinging. And look at the ground with all those different colors. And at the end of the day, Maud looked at the bedspread and smiled. "This time, it really is finished," she said firmly. "Tomorrow is Sunday, and we never sew on Sundays." So they went to sleep, happy, under their houses. So again, we have this big old house. You can see there's a maid walking with a candle. And then you can see this is the sister's room right here. You can see now they have that beautiful bedspread and the moon outside. On Sunday, Maud said, "Today we will turn the bedspread around so that I can see your house and you can see mine." So they turned the bedspread carefully around and saw at once that they were not symmetrical at all. I'm afraid my stitching isn't quite as tidy as yours," stammered Amelia guiltily. "I'd forgotten my stitches." "But your house is happy," said Maud rather sadly. I had forgotten the happiness. You can see how they're so different, but each person saw something beautiful in the other one. They turned the bedspread back again so that Amelia could look at her own happy house and Maud at her beautifully stitched one. We haven't done the sky, said Amelia suddenly. No sewing on Sundays, said Maud. A picture should have the sun in it, thought Amelia. The sun shone every day when I was a child. So when Maud was snoozing after dinner, Amelia secretly cut out a golden circle of satin sunshine. Silently, she unfastened the safety pin and stitched the sun in its place. When Maud awoke, she noticed that her house was looking brighter, and she felt brighter too. She didn't even scold Amelia for overlapping the sun onto her half, or even for sewing on a Sunday. See, she's sewing that on. I think she made a good choice. So that's finished, said Maud on Monday, and they put away their work baskets, and they fiddled and twitched, not knowing what to do with themselves. There's plenty more space left on the bedspread, Amelia hinted, and plenty of stitches we haven't used yet. So they took out their work baskets again and opened them and once more began to sew. And this time they never stopped. Amelia remembered the muffin man and roasted chestnuts and hopscotch on the pavement, and Maud remembered the fern stitch, rice stitch, and fishbone stitch. And then, when they were about 103 years old, the sisters died, and their bedspread was put in a museum for all to see. There you can see the bedspread. See all those more beautiful things she added. And down here you can see so many more things. Some people flying a kite, pushing a basket, flying. On Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, it was hung so that Maud's house was right side up. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturdays, it was hung so that Amelia's house was right side up. And on Sundays, the museum was closed. The sign says, closed until Monday when the famous bedspread will again be on display. And that is the end of the book. And I love it so much. And I think that it just shows that people are creative in their own ways. And you can all be given the same subject matter and you can make just anything. And it all has its own, beautiful things about it. And I love it. And the illustrations in this book are exquisite. And yes. So anyways, I hope that you do something creative. And I hope that you liked my favorite illustrated book of my whole childhood. Okay. I love you.